Welcome back to our listeners. It's been so long since we have been able to touch base with our friends and loved ones who are still on the crazy journey that is the Eurovision Song Contest.
And it feels like we've been waiting for, some important news. So we finally got some news. Depending on who you are, that news may be good, that news may be bad. Depends on your thoughts and feelings. So I think today that's kind of what we're going to focus on. For those of you who are still in the dark, we are referring specifically to the meeting that the EBU had on December 4th and kind of everything that went down and the fallout from it.
Yes. So for folks
So,
that are jumping into this, this was the annual General Assembly in which the EBU voted on rules and regulations going into 2026, which then also bled into many countries deciding whether or not they would or would not pursue further participation in the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest, with the result of some countries deciding to withdraw, given Israel's decision to continue to participate in next year's song contest. So, Doug, what do we know that's going on so far based off of current decisions
yeah,
that are happening?
it it does seem like there's a lot of moving parts and kind of let's try to separate and break things down a little bit. So let's just start with the new rules and how that vote went down. So the EBU announced some overhaul to the rules based on feedback that they had been getting. And so some of the changes that were being discussed were, first of all, fewer maximum number of votes. In this case, the maximum would go from 20 to 10. Now, my biggest concern with this is that we didn't address how many times you can vote. So, sure, everybody got kneecapped down to 10 votes, but you can still vote per voting method. So, if you've got 6 credit cards and 2 debit cards and whatever else, you
Multiple
can
email
use
accounts.
multiple email accounts, but also like if you have a credit card from a country that you don't live in, you can use that credit card to, is my understanding at least, that you can use that credit card to vote for in that country. So did we really change much, or is there just half as many votes? So everybody's voting only 10 times, but everybody's still being able to vote with all their different credit cards and debit cards and things.
Yeah, I think that rule in particular only, you know, tipped away at but a small chunk of the issue with that component in particular. I don't necessarily think it addresses the full voting issue that's going on in that area itself. Not necessarily full encompassing is what I'm trying to get at there. So,
Yeah.
was that a full resolution? Absolutely not. So, again,
But
not a great solution.
yeah, is it a step in the right direction? I don't even know if it's a step in the right direction. And I'll be fair, I don't have the answer. So I'm part of the problem in that I don't have an answer, right? But if we're not limiting how many times I can vote, yes, we're saying only 10, but how many credit cards? I mean, obviously, I'm not looking to spend hundreds of dollars on this, but there are people out there who, the more you're willing to put into it, the more you can vote. That's just,
And
I mean, it's pay to play, right?
and we saw countries in the last few years do just that to help boost popularity and help countries win the popular vote. So,
Yeah. So I don't know if this particular rule change does much of anything other than makes people feel better. Like, congratulations, we're pretending to make changes, but does it really change anything? No, I just think we cut the number of votes in half, but the proportion would still be the same, right?
Right.
So, okay. So fewer number of votes was one of the first rules. Another rule change is that the juries would come back. So 50-50 voting returns to semifinals and juries are expanded.
From 5 to
Um,
7, correct?
yeah, the number of jurors will increase from 5 to 7, and the range of professional backgrounds that jurors can be chosen from will be expanded to include music journalists and critics, music teachers, creative professionals such as choreographers and stage directors, and experienced music industry figures. To reflect the appeal of the contest with younger audiences, each jury will now include at least 2 jury members aged 18 to 25.
Now, this one I'm a little bit more okay with for a couple of reasons. I think it will diversify the countries and performers that we see actually advancing to the grand final. I think this may actually give us a little bit more. Again, we're going to see favoritism and we're going to see countries that will rally and support their like neighboring countries. I think, if you see Greece and you see Cyprus in the same semifinal, they're going to play with each other and they're going to, of course, boost one another to help qualify. But I do think that it's going to help some of those smaller countries, the Maltas, the Montenegros, the San Marinos, those smaller countries. So we may actually see them qualify a little bit more frequently than we have in the past couple of years when this rule was not in play. Similarly, I think with moving the age up from 16 to 18, we may see a little bit more maturity just in that sense of some of the musicality and allowing some of those performers to showcase a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I think that putting the juries back in is a little less controversial just because they used to be there. So we're
Mm-hmm.
just putting it back in play. Um, and I think there's always going to be folks who are not happy with an outcome. If the country you were rooting for doesn't advance, then you're going to find a reason that there was a problem, whether it be with the juries or without the juries. So pick your poison.
Right.
And in this case, I am comfortable with the juries, knowing that the smaller countries are given a better shot because they know that if I send a good quality song,
To the
the
grand
juries have my
final.
back.
Yeah.
Right. I can get to the grand final because the juries will have my back.
Agreed.
So I am in favor of this realignment to what it used to be. And then the other thing they were looking at was enhanced technical safeguards. Alongside these enhancements, the EBU will continue to work closely with its voting partner wants to expand the contest's advanced security systems, which detect and prevent fraudulent or coordinated voting activity and strengthen monitoring of suspicious patterns to maintain trust in the results of the audience vote.
So
You,
it's just word vomit.
it's
But
just
again,
words.
it's just words. I want to understand more the how they intend to actually do that.
Absolutely.
There's been some really great interviews that have gone on through international CNN and BBC News and other news outlets that have brought other great commentators who follow Eurovision Song Contest news greatly that discuss in full detail how over the past couple of years you've had a lot of people politicize how Eurovision has become just that. When we say that the song contest is supposed to be very non-political, you have a lot of people in political power in various countries that are doing just that to try to, persuade people to
Right.
vote.
Whether it's to drum up support, encourage voting, endorse a country, endorse their country.
Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
it's, I feel like this rule, while great in theory, I want to understand the how, because how are you going to actually police or regulate people from being able to not do this?
I mean, and the EBU is
Especially,
only so big. Like you're telling me that you're going to be able to track and monitor every country and every entity and no, like it's too much. Like
Yeah,
even even if you have the best intentions with this rule, I think you're right. It's the how. How is
it's
this
the
going
how.
to happen? How is this
Yeah.
going to take place?
If they actually, broke that rule down a little bit further to explain just that, maybe I would have a little bit more peace of mind. And perhaps they do. Maybe because we were not behind closed doors in the full General Assembly, they
That's fair.
provided more clarity around that. But as an outsider, just reading this overview, I'm not completely sold and I'm not completely trustworthy that they have provided a full solution to that just yet.
Right. I also feel like we've just lived in the world long enough to know that a statement like that is just lip service.
Correct. So,
So, based on this new criteria, there was a vote that took place, and in doing so, the overwhelming majority, I believe, I think it was like 64%,
yeah,
were in favor of these rule changes. And so the rule changes advanced and went through. And as such, the EBU parliamentarian, I believe, just said, and we're done.
yeah. Because of
I don't know
that, yeah.
exactly how that went
I
down,
mean,
but
yeah.
the
It's essentially because that vote moved forward, it stopped an additional vote, which would have then been open to essentially ban
well,
Israel from participating in
yeah, the
2026. Correct.
vote. I think as Eurovision fans, you expected to see, or the idea was that we were told a vote of Israel's participation was going to take place. For good or for bad, a vote was going to go down.
Yeah.
And to find out that it just didn't happen, and their rationale was, well, we passed the rules changes, so we
Yeah.
don't need to vote on Israel's participation. And I don't understand why it was tied together. Like if this,
Right.
then this. They
Yes.
the rules change should have happened regardless of whether Israel participates or not.
Yeah, essentially because of this vote being in favor of accepting the rule changes, there was not an additional voting to move forward with a separate vote on Israel's participation
Right. It's
at the
as if the EBU
contest.
said, "We have appeased you.
Mm,
Be fine with everything else."
yes. As a result, we then saw an immediate withdrawal from four countries, that being the Netherlands, Ireland, Slovenia, and then to me, a big one because it is a big five country, Spain. Why this is a big issue is because a big five country provides a lot of financial support in running the Eurovision Song Contest. So, a couple of things from me immediately is how does this alter the way in which the show will move forward, not just this year, but in years to come?
Well, I mean, it's no longer the Big Five.
No.
That's for sure.
Let's start with our
uh,
host saying the big four plus host country Austria next year.
right.
So
So
let's
that
start with
means that the
that.
finals would be 25 countries instead of 26.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's important to talk about the financial contribution because most of these countries are keeping a pretty tight lip on how much they're giving. Yes, we know
Mm-hmm.
they're Big Five and we know they're a big contributor, but the exact how much can be hard to pin down. Um, I know that each country puts in participation fees. Basically, hey, we're participating in Eurovision. Here's how much we are giving
Mm-hmm.
to Eurovision, EBU, etc. Um, from what I can find, as recently as 2024, Spain's participation fee was approximately 600,000 euros. And that in itself is significant because other countries are putting in, you know, 50,000, 100,000 or less, you
It's a
know. So
substantial. That's a substantial difference.
right, and I don't know if Spain is giving more than just that initial 600,000 participation fee, but again, that amount in just the participation fee alone is significantly higher than other countries.
Yeah. And at
And I go ahead.
Oh well, no, continue your thought.
Oh, I'm just going to mention that it seems as though the Netherlands is the sixth highest contributor, and so yes, they're not in the big five, but come on, they're right there. So you're
Yeah.
losing numbers 5 and 6 in terms of financial contributions. Is what's that impact going to look like?
Yeah. And similarly, what is the impact going to look like as fans, as tourists who are planning or were planning to be in attendance for 2026? This
Right.
is going to have major impacts globally, not just within host city. So there's going to be a lot of blowback,
Right.
not just in the now, but I think in months to come.
I mean, we are recording this literally the day after the vote.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still a lot to digest and a lot to just mentally wrap your brain around. I think about Spain in particular. And when we went to Malmo in 2024, and we were at the watch party for the finals, not even in the arena, we were at the watch party, and the number of people, particularly the row of guys behind us, who were just insanely enamored with Spain.
Yeah.
Like, do they participate? If you find out that your country is not participating in Eurovision, do you boycott Eurovision? Do you not? Do you say, I like Eurovision so much that I'm going to still watch? Is their broadcaster even broadcasting it in Spain?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of what ifs that obviously we will find out in the months to come, but it just leaves a lot of questions.
It does. And of course, these decisions do not come lightly for a lot of these countries. They have spent the last couple of months, ultimately coming to this decision and knowing that if the final outcome at General Assembly is that, if Israel does indeed participate in 2026, that they will be walking away. So it should not be a surprise to many. And as such, a lot of these folks have, been prepared to release statements, such as the Dutch broadcasters have gone out and stated that the Rotros has decided not to participate in the Eurovision Song Contest in 2026. This decision follows a careful and extensive deliberation process in which we consulted a broad range of stakeholders, from the Israeli ambassador to Amnesty International, from the EBU to several European public broadcasters, as well as our own association council, work council, supervisory board, and the many thousands of Eurovision fans who reached out to us. After weighing all perspectives, Rotros concludes that under the current circumstances, participation cannot be reconciled with the public values that are fundamental to our organization. This decision was taken in close coordination with the Dutch public broadcasting, which represents and supports the conclusions we have drawn. Many others, such as the Slovenian Broadcasting Association, the Spanish broadcaster RTVE, as well as the Ireland Broadcasting Association, have gone out and done similar statements to this, where, again, does not align with where they stand on current politics and where the war between Israel and Hamas have gone and continue to proceed. So it should be to nobody's surprise that this was the outcome.
Right. And that's where I think that we need to take a step back and say, regardless of how you feel in this situation, you had countries who took a stance and are standing by that. And I respect that. I think, one thing I learned when I was doing housing uh, for the university is, if you threaten to call the cops, you need to follow through with calling the cops. And that stuck with me a lot, is that you can't say you're going to do something and then not do it. So to have them say, if Israel participates, we will not be there, and then to follow through with that, I think is a big way to stand by your convictions.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting 2026, and I think that this is just the beginning of what is to come. I'm uh, interested to see what other countries may also take a stand as well. I think that this is just the first wave, and I think that
Do
there may be a
you
couple
do
more
you think that
countries
more
that
countries will
follow suit.
be okay?
I think there could.
I mean, we know that
Yeah.
there's Iceland on the bubble. They have said, they had indicated prior that they were more in alignment with Spain, Netherlands, Slovenia, etc. Do you think they're going to go that route? Because there were other bubble countries, Belgium, Portugal, who today, December 5th, have come out and said they will be participating.
Yeah. I I truthfully don't know, but I definitely, like I said, I think that this is just the first wave. There's still several more months to go before we are in May and we find ourselves in Vienna. But one thing's for sure, this is going to be a drastically different Eurovision Song Contest than we've ever seen before. And I'm just going to
It,
leave it at that.
it's going to feel different regardless.
Hmm.
And I think the thing that gets me as a history person is that that there is a long history here. I mean, we are going into the 70th anniversary year. Like, this is a big deal, and to find out that Spain has participated every year since they joined in 1961. Like, this is not some small country with this just meaningless decision. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
You also have Netherlands, who they've participated since it first started, all but 4 times. Two of those times it was because the contest fell during the Dutch Remembrance of the Dead, so they
Hmm.
didn't participate. And then 1995 and 2002, they didn't participate because it was back in the era where if you didn't do well the year before, there might not be space for you the next year. So they
Right.
basically got relegated for those 2 years. So
Right.
in 69 years of the contest, they have participated in 60, what, four of those, five of the 65 of those. Like, again, a big deal. Ireland has participated all but twice, in 1983 due to a strike at their broadcaster, and in 2002 due to relegation. So again, this is not nothing. I mean, you got Ireland, who's won what, 7 times?
Yeah, they are of these countries so far that have withdrawn. Ireland's one of the ones that has one of the best winning results. So they're up
Like, track
there.
records, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, no shade to Slovenia, you guys are a little baby country, and we love you. They, have been participating since 1993, and I absolutely despise seeing on the internet where people are like, "Oh, no big loss." No,
No,
it
it's
is a
still a
huge
loss.
loss. Any time a country exits Eurovision, that is one less country that
Yeah.
we are seeing, national finals potentially from, one less country that we're learning more about their artists, less exposure for that artist. Like, I don't care what country, I don't care what place they get. Any country leaving is a blow to the contest.
It absolutely is. And when you think about where we were in 2022, when you had 40 plus countries that were competing, and we're now going into 2026 with at least 35 and potentially less, like that's not something to take lightly. They need to wake up and the EBU needs to wake up and they need to really assess what's going on here to try to win countries back.
Well, and I think that, but it's almost like they said, okay, we know that these countries are going to follow through, so let's just put all of our efforts into getting countries back. And so, yes, they've got Moldova, Romania, Bulgaria coming back. Are we putting a band-aid on it? Because that doesn't seem like the fix.
It's not fixing the overall issue here.
Right.
We're we could have potentially been closer to that 40 number, and yet now we're going to have less than what we had this past year in 2025. So you're not fixing the bleed if that's what you think you're doing.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot to take in, as we've said. I don't know. It's hard to know how to feel in this moment. I think I'm
As
still
yeah,
processing. I know
as yeah,
for me and what I want to do for this upcoming year, still processing it.
still processing a lot, especially as we are getting ready to begin national song contests and internal selections and things of that nature. It's like I said, I could say it probably every minute of this episode. It's going to be a substantially different 2026 Eurovision Song Contest, and one that we've probably not seen ever. And this could be a make or break moment for Eurovision Song Contest to come, like years to come.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know what it's going to feel like. As you said, we are preparing for Montasong. Like the songs are out, we're starting to vibe with them. We're getting hyped for some of them. I know we're going to talk about that in our next episode, so I'm looking forward to that. And
Yes.
so you're trying to be excited for the music and the artists and the countries and the culture and all of the things that we love about Eurovision.
And what Eurovision is supposed to be about.
Right.
Yeah. Also, Katie will,
But are you able to
yeah,
turn a blind eye to
yeah.
everything else going on?
And also Katie will be back for that episode. So there's that too.
Yes, we do miss Katie. I know
Yes.
she's girl bossing very hard this
She's
week.
girl bossing hardcore this week. So we will be back with her.
But I'm, that's the thing. Like that's why we even have this is because we like to see what's out there, learn new things. Yes, I've got my Spotify Wrapped, and I love how in my top like 15, 20 songs, at least half of them are songs from national finals that didn't go on to Eurovision. And that is why, looking back at the year, I'm so happy that we did what we did and really started following those national finals so I could discover all of this music.
It was also just a reminder to you that you're gay. So
Well, I'm gay and I'm basic, and I think they said that my music age was 19, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm like Swedish teenager in my
yeah,
past life. So
yeah.
we already knew that. Thank
We
you.
already knew that. Yeah. So well, we hope to be back in the coming weeks with more positive Eurovision Song Contest news and reviews. As Doug mentioned, Montasong is on the docket, and we will be looking forward to talking through the artists and songs that they will be bringing to the Montasong stage, and announcing other countries that we will be eagerly reviewing and watching in the coming weeks and the coming months. Let's hope that things turn around for 2026. Because right now it's
And if
looking
not,
pretty
there's always
bleak.
2027.
To be
Ooh,
determined at
maybe.
this point.
Right.
Let us know in the comments below what you think. But in the meantime, that'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks for sticking with us and tuning in. And we hope to bring back a little bit more positive news down the road. But tune in next week, and we'll see you all at our next Kiki.
Bye.
Bye.